Hi, also welcome to the today's tutorial. So in previous tutorial we have gone in depth what is constructor, why we should use them. Today we will read OOPS concept, which is quite important, and we will cover inheritance, overloading, data abstraction, which are quite important in Unreal. So let's first cover the inheritance. Inheritance means, like, let's imagine you are creating a class A in which you have defined some method, right? Method and variable. So if you are creating some child class, let's imagine B and C. So there are options like you can use those variables and the methods in B and C together. So you don't have to define them again and again. So let's imagine you have birds, and in bird you can have different type of birds, like sparrows, pigeons. So these are two species, right? So there will be some methods and the variables, which will be common on both of them, and there will be some things which will be quite different. So this is why we usually use inheritance. So let's see how we can use it. First, let me create a class called shape, and inside the shape we will have int height and int width. We will create, okay, and we will create one function called void get area. So see out, this is default area. So let's imagine we have two type of shapes. One is triangle and one is square. So the area of both of them will be different, right? Or rectangle. So let's have class rectangle, rectangle. So this is how we inherit. So this is how we usually create the child. So here we are saying, okay, rectangle, you're child of shape. So in public, if you will see, if I will write some function void some function cout, if I will write height, you can see I can access it, right? So this is the beauty of inheritance. I can also call get area function. So let's imagine if I do have the one more shape called triangle, and inside triangle I have get area. If I will call these two functions like this, get area, okay, okay, we are getting this error because we have created the void function, and here it is not outputting anything. This is why cout is saying, okay, what should I output, because this is a void function. So let's have int or float, and here will return 0 by default. So by default it is not doing anything, and it should read, okay, by default let's do height multiply width. If okay, so what we will do here, we will create one object of rectangle and one triangle. Rectangle rec is equals to rectangle, and one triangle try is equals to triangle, and this is rectangle. For the rectangle, if I will write get area, and for triangle also, if I will get, area, we can all expect, okay, you know, and okay, let's do one more thing here. We will create a parameterized constructor which we have seen in previous tutorials. Int underscore height comma int underscore width, and here we will put height underscore height comma width underscore width. So this is the default construct sorry, this is not default, this is the parameter constructor. So if we will pass value something like this, 12, and for triangle also 12 12, it is giving us that error because we haven't created any constructor in here. So what we will do, we will create one constructor here too, which will have two variables, int uh, underscore height comma int underscore width. So one of the way to call, like I do want, okay, I am passing the parameter to rectangle, but in return I do want to pass this parameter to the parents class constructor. So one of the ways to, to write something like this: shape is not initialized in the constructor. Yep, I will do it. So one way is comma width. So one way is, you can just pass this. Give me a second. We can just, pass value here. Let me copy paste it. And it will call its parent constructor here. We will do the same thing in triangle. Sorry, yep, triangle. So triangle, this is the constructor, and we will copy this too. So we have the constructor. So as soon as we will do that, the error will be gone. If we will calculate the area, it's obvious because, okay, we can delete these functions too. We are able to access the get area from rectangle class, and we haven't defined the get area function inside rectangle class because they are the child of shape. So whatever we have inside shape class, we can access it. Okay, so if we will play, this is the default area we are getting. Okay, we are not printing anything. So in the get area, let me see out height and width. Play. You can see 144 144 it is printing. If we will look carefully, we can easily say, okay, but triangle area is different than the rectangle area, correct? So now you do know the concept of inheritance, so I will delete it. So one of the way we can overload, or sorry, not overload, we can override the functions implementation here. So get area have some default functionality, right? It's like it is saying by default I do want to use this definition, but if somebody want, like from the child, they can override some functionality. So in for the case of triangle, for the rectangle I know the area height into width it will work, but for the triangle it will be half of this area, correct? So what we will do, first we will like we will say this is a virtual function. Virtual function means I can override this function. I'm telling, okay, in this class this function is virtual. That means if we are creating some child class of this function, I can override. I can, like, it's not mandatory though, but I can override it. So virtual float get area override. Here with the override keyword I am saying, okay, I am override this function. This virtual keyword is not mandatory, so I can remove this also. It just override is enough, and we'll say cout, and I will say height multiply width divide by 2. and it will give me the area. Return. Okay, let's try. It is 144 and 72. Just to have better clarity, we will print endl here and here. You got my point? So this is how we can override some function and we can modify the property of the parent functions. Okay, so there is one thing called data abstraction. So what does it mean? Like sometimes we do want, okay, in the parent class there are something which we don't want to expose in the child class. So let's imagine I have some function called so we talked about protected when we were starting the series, but I said okay, we will cover it in the later tutorial. So today we will cover it. So void some random function see out, this is some random function. So this random function we have defined it in the protected. Protected means anything inside protected means we can access it inside its child class. So here, in the get area, let's imagine if I will try to access this some random function, I can do it. But if I will try to access it with, if I will define it as private, now if I will try to do the same, I won't be able to. See, it is giving me that error. It is saying the member is inaccessible. So this is what we call in data abstraction. So this was it for today. I think you have fair understanding. So this was all the basics you need from C++ side. Now from the future tutorial we will start the Unreal project, and you will see the real-time knowledge how we incorporate all this information in the real-time games. So this was it for today. Have a nice day. Bye bye, and do like and subscribe.